Blue Lips is the name of ScHoolboy Q's upcoming 5th studio album on TDE, and it's coming near the 10-year anniversary of Oxymoron. So what should we expect? What do we already know about this album? We've got a few rare interviews, some live streams, and some mysterious merch to pull our tea leaves from. So let's lock in. What's up, y'all? I'm Devon here again for Obligatory. We do a weekly music news segment on this channel every single Friday, so catch me on this every single Friday. Today is February 2nd, 2024, and at the end of this video, we'll have our roundup of this week's new releases as well as upcoming albums for 2024. Now, ScHoolboy Q is planning to release this album on March 1st, which is a date that is already stacking up nicely. And we're still a month away, so I imagine there's going to be more things that come out. Now, we got this announcement via social media with the release of a trailer for the album that also includes a track list revealing. Now, this track list had 17 songs with no features listed, but does include some tracks that we can already find on the web. One of those tracks that we know is Pig Feet. This is a song he played during a Twitch stream 2 years ago that fans are really excited made the cut. Now, he played several songs in that session, all of which sounded nearly complete. In the way that he spoke about it, it seemed like his album was nearly complete more than 2 years ago now. He played another unreleased track during the Cal Banks Boiler Room DJ set, a song in which you can hear pretty great quality in the video. This one samples Chicken Head by Project Pat, if you know, you know. And most of the songs I've heard so far have been banger types. All of this stuff, by the way, is linked in the description if you want to check any of it out. Q mentioned both Alchemist and Kenny Beats as guys that he's worked with during these sessions, but also that this album is a complete collaborative effort, meaning each one of these tracks is likely to be co-produced by multiple producers. I expect some of the louder songs that we've been hearing to have more chill or even sobering counterpart tracks next to them, delivering some contrast and some extra substance to the mix. And I think that's where the Alchemist types come in. I hope there's some of that production in here. I should note that in the trailer we hear some music playing in the background that credits this song. I like it, and I hope that it's something that's actually in the album. Now, something I would not expect to see on this album, and it's tough to say this, but I don't think that you should expect a Kendrick Lamar feature on this thing. Given that in September, Q revealed that the last time they had worked together was when Kendrick did the ad-libs for Crash Talk. So, if I'm hearing him correctly, they haven't worked together in over 5 years. So, if anything Kendrick shows up on this album, it's probably been at least that long since it was made. And speaking of Crash Talk, I get the sense from him in some of these interviews that he's not completely happy or satisfied with how that album finished out. Specifically, how he continues to evolve his songwriting to better fit his current state of mind and stage in life, right? There's been so many gangster rap staples in his music. How does that translate to a guy who's been focusing on his mental and physical health, things like being a dad, things like maintaining sobriety? And from those comments, it sounds like something he's continued to grapple with and work through for this album. Now, let's quickly look at the merch on Q's personal website because there is a lot here, but one design that really stuck out to me, that's on a couple of garments, a TDE tombstone dated 2004 to 2019. And on the flip side, it says, "Sorry, it was my fault." Super interesting because I don't know what exactly to make of this. It could be completely tongue-in-cheek, and I know it's at least somewhat tongue-in-cheek, but of course I'm reading into it. Crash Talk released that year. In reality, it was kind of a slow year for TDE, but also Kendrick was likely preparing to depart from the label at that time. Now, he didn't officially do that until 2022 when he released Mr. Morale, but he first announced the PG Lang venture with Dave Free in early 2020, which is the imprint that he and Baby Keem are now releasing music on. So TDE as we know it was definitely ending in 2019. There's probably more to it than we may ever know, but that's at least likely some of what he's referencing in this. Now, what your hopes are for a new Q album may really depend on which of his albums to this point you've really gravitated to. Again, Oxymoron being his most iconic, while Blankface has kind of a cult classic status. Again, Q himself said that Crash Talk has been one of his most commercially viable albums to date with the most certifications, but I can say with at least some level of confidence that I don't think he's ready to retread any of those sounds and that he probably believes this album is very different from any of those ones before it. I am pretty excited about this album if you can't tell. I think there's a lot of good signs pointing towards the release of this project, and we don't have to wait that long to hear it. It's coming March 1st. Can't wait. Plenty of other albums were teased or talked about or outright announced this week, so we'll break down some of those. Lana Del Rey announced this week that she and Jack Antonoff are working on yet another record together, and the word is on this that she's going country this time around which definitely piques my interest. You know, I wasn't really that big on Ocean Boulevard, but I'm definitely curious to see where this goes. Ice Spice announced that her debut album is coming this year. It's going to be titled Y2K after her birthday. She announced that on the Today Show, of all places, and no release date yet, but she did say that she just locked in a, quote, crazy collab. So we'll see what that ends up being. Yeat confirmed that he's dropping an album this month. It's one that fans have been waiting for a while, titled 2093. And we even saw him linked up in the studio with Childish Gambino this week in his latest Instagram post, which also featured him on a FaceTime call with Drake, and it's rumored that he'll be featured on the project as well. And then Beth Gibbons of Portishead announced that she is close to releasing her long-awaited debut solo album, which I know fans have been waiting years for now. It's titled Lives Outgrown, and even though it's a debut album, it will have a unique pedigree given the status of her work in songwriting for Portishead and how revered those albums have been over the years. I would also be remiss to neglect to mention that a couple weeks ago we got a teaser trailer for an upcoming tribute album for Talking Heads' Stop Making Sense. Based on the trailer, we already knew that Paramore was going to be doing a take on Burning Down the House, but I was curious to know what the rest of the roster was going to look like, and now we know. We're going to have performances from The National, Toro y Moi, Lord, Kevin Abstract, Miley Cyrus, Bad Bad Not Good, Tizo Touchdown, and so many more. So again, they're going to be doing each one of the songs that's actually on this concert film. I think this is a really interesting mixed bag of artists, and it may really capture the outlandish nature of the music itself. Let's see. Still no date. Probably still coming soon, though. Speaking of Paramore, speaking of Hayley Williams, SZA and Hayley Williams have long been publicly fans of one another and given each other their flowers in interviews and stuff like that. And this week, SZA confirmed that a collaboration between the two is in the works. This was during a TikTok Q&A for Apple Music. She says that's coming soon. And then our last story here is just to mention that Universal Music Group is pulling its catalog of music from the TikTok library of sounds. This includes some really, really big artists like Taylor Swift, Drake, Olivia Rodrigo, so many other artists under that umbrella. And so a pretty large portion of sounds that were available in the TikTok library are no longer, and videos that were using those sounds are now just muted. This is not happening on Instagram, so whatever agreement that they had come to, UMG and TikTok, expired on January 31st of this year, and they've yet to resolve the matter and come to terms again. And so during that time, just not going to have that music. Now, before we get out of here, we have our notable new releases and editors' picks from this week. We also have a decent handful of albums that were announced this week, headlined, of course, by ScHoolboy Q. And then we have a pretty decent handful of albums announced to be releasing next week. It is certainly a mixed bag of artists that don't really go together, but there is a thing or two in here that I'm pretty excited for, namely Shy Girl's Club Shy album that sounds like a little bit more techno and dance inspired. Then we got albums releasing the rest of February, stuff coming after next week, and that's headlined by a new Idols album, the Serpent with Feet album, MGMT coming here in a couple weeks, and then our albums for the rest of the year. ScHoolboy Q and Faye Webster Barbenheimer event March 1st, Ariana Grande album the week following that, Tierra Whack later in the year, Justin Timberlake later in the year, Adrian Linker, and so many more all the way through May now at this point. And we certainly got a lot to listen to, so let me know what's highest on your list for upcoming albums of the year, and I'd also like to know kind of what you've been listening to so far this year. What was good in January? I was really big on the Boldy James album. What about you? That's all we have for you today. If you hit the like button, that's a great way to get us back into your feed the next time we release a video, and we do have some videos planned. And we just want to appreciate that you made it to the end of this video, because that was doing us a big enough solid as it is. Again, I'm Devon, 6dev6 on Instagram. You can follow Obligatory at Obligatory on Instagram. Until next time, I'll be here again next week bringing you the news. So until then, holla at your boy. Thanks for watching, and peace out.